All right, so this is Simp got dismantled after defending modern 304s. We're gonna find out the perspective of a patriarchal warrior, social patriarchal justice warrior, which of course is a man who steps up for men who didn't ask for it, and then he's gonna defend them despite them being above him in his own patriarchy or hierarchy he created for himself to put himself on the lowest level of. Let's see what his excuse is.
None of
What is
that
your
was
actual argument?
that women have pride, dignity, humanity, and you deny them all of that. What
Okay.
defines dignity? Self-respect, strength, self-worth, humility.
And these are all traits that OnlyFans girls and don't have. Here's the thing. Men and women are biologically different, and your egalitarian worldview of pedestalizing females is just not going to work for
I'm
the
not
majority of
putting
guys.
them on a pedestal. I'm saying
you quite literally are.
I know
between men and
many
women.
great women, and if they have to struggle to survive to do OnlyFans, it's because men put them in that position, bro. You need some. Yo, what's up? What makes you think that someone is worth something? What makes someone worth something? If you, no, I'm done.
Yeah, can you be a bit more specific? That's a very broad.
What traits of a person or qualities makes them worth something? You like to say that women are worth less, so you must know what makes someone worth something.
A girl is not a.
Wow, that was so philosophical, bro. Come on.
Yeah,
bro.
it's pretty straightforward.
Any woman with self-respect would never talk to you, bro. So tell me, why, what makes you think that women deserve less, bro? And I know so many great women with pride, self-respect, morality. Bro, what type of woman do you talk to on the daily basis? What are the women that you attract that you talk to? What type of woman are they? Not saying that there's anything wrong with OnlyFans girls. There's
a lot wrong with them.
They may lack some self-respect. That doesn't make them worthless. They may feel like they're worth less and less, but that doesn't make them worth less, bro. But those are the women you talk to that feel like they are worth less. You've never talked to an actual great woman in your life with pride, with humanity, with dignity. You have no idea what those words even mean, bro, because you don't convey it. You don't express it. You are hurting these women, and you don't care. What do you think of morality, bro? Is morality an important trait? To be moral and compassionate and empathetic, is that important?
Damn, this guy's really trying to get laid tonight. Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing, dude.
I was gonna say that he's, you know what? Just let him talk.
Men and women are different, okay? Girls that are not respected because it's easy. Guys that are capable of being respected because it's hard. It's not easy for guys to attract women, but it's very easy for women to attract men. It's just very simple. So the barrier to entry is low, so therefore it's not respected. As far as go ahead.
You didn't answer my question. I'm asking about morality. Do you believe morality and empathy and compassion are important things in this world?
Well, you can be polite to girls that are 304s, but that doesn't mean you have to date them.
Dog, nothing you say is polite. You disrespect their humanity in every way. That is
For telling the truth? If you do OnlyFans, that you're a.
Bro, no man who has ever been treated well by a woman would act like you. You've clearly been scarred horribly, bro, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that happened. Whatever happened to you, I am so sorry that it has made you that way. I would hate to live a life where I'm a shitty person, bro. That would make that is the saddest, the darkest life possible, and I feel sorry for you, bro. You have no compassion. The things that make us human, you have none of, bro.
Besides your emotional arguments, what is your actual actual argument?
That women have pride, dignity, humanity, and you deny them all of that. What defines dignity? Self-respect, strength, self-worth, humility. Yes, exactly.
And these are all traits that OnlyFans girls and don't have.
Yeah, the only ones you talk to, bro. That's why you don't know, because they're the only. I'm sorry, because those are the only ones that you talk to.
No, we
That's
brought
why
plenty
you
of
do
girls
not
on our
know.
show that have PhDs, master's degrees, higher education. We brought girls from all different walks of life, man.
And you, I'm sure you disrespected them, huh?
Well, a lot of them are, if I'm going to be honest. Not all, but a lot of them are. A lot of them lack critical thinking skills despite higher education.
All right, so you never answered my question. Women with dignity, self-respect, humility, self-worth. There's none of them. They don't exist on this planet because I know thousands. I know.
Of course they
hundreds
exist,
of them.
but they're a minority.
All right, so then some women do deserve equal as men. You just admitted it. They have dignity. Why would they deserve any less? You just
There's
admitted it.
look, bro, like
If you want to make a
it's
generalization,
not all or nothing. Like we're speaking in generalities here.
oh, you're
So-
speaking in generalities.
Yes,
How
this is
do you-
how the world works. We speak in generalities.
Yeah, you only know what's general.
There's always going to be
those are the only
exceptions to the
women you
rule
talk to.
every time. But what I'm saying for the guys here is that the dating landscape has changed significantly, and guys need to prepare for the new normal. Your methodology of being a simp no longer works, okay? Like, you know, putting on the cape for women and being the nice guy and fighting for them and everything else like that, that's not respected, okay?
Regardless of if they, whatever they
All right, so just real quick, he's trying to push the idea that he's white knighting or he's being the white savior complex, which he's trying to go there to defend the women, and that his idea of defending women is the only reason he is able to get laid or reproduce for himself, which is trying to devalue his education, devalue his perspective, which is trying to make him frustrated, which is why he said I'm sorry and he lowered his voice, because he again is getting frustrated by the fact that he's ignoring everything he's saying, and he's trying to push the idea again that he's only doing this for sex, which is annoying because I do run into men like this. They are usually the frat boy men, and a lot of those men do intently lie for sex, which is why he's trying to push the agenda that you're just doing that to get laid. It's not going to work anymore, because a lot of women immediately hear men start to speak feminism and think they should watch their mouth, which I personally have run into a lot of the time, which of course is just women openly saying they lack education, which is of course where he oftentimes made friends with women to help educate them and tell them that he's not there to talk down on them or push them down. He respects them. He sees them with dignity as a human being and compassion, which he's saying over and over again, because it's one of the most interesting talking points. Is he started off by saying, I'm sorry you've been hurt, because a perspective of most men is that we're all equal, which means someone had to push him to a level where he had to side with people who literally do not even see him as an equal, which is the hierarchy of patriarchy, where you have to compete to be even seen as a human being, which then of course there are a lot of people they see as subhuman, which they relabel as simp or lesser or a criminal aspect, which I'll talk about in another video. But again, he's devaluing your argument to make you feel like you're sexualizing women, so he could get naive women to go, OMG, that's so true, which are the naive women that he's used to sleeping with, which is Myron, not the white guy. And then now this white guy is stuck in a position due to his excess amount of resources and education. He's scared to talk to him in a direct way because he could look like a racist talking down on someone with lacking resource or education, which of course is not that racist, because it is technically what Myron's arguing by saying women lack education and resources, and therefore everything you're doing is just trying to take advantage of their simplistic nature, which everyone's dancing around the evolution discussion, because the evolution discussion itself admits that women are equal and all people are equal to men and women, and they all deserve the respect and dignity and deserve to be respected and loved as an equal. But of course he's going to push the agenda that is now a dying ideology, because now we have to confess the fact that at some point or another people go up like a cellular full bar connection, that there's always going to be someone above you who understands that dominating and taking over is better. But you're going to realize that a lot of those men at the top are educated in a lot of feminism, because they're educated in caring and respecting for people, because they want to stay with the same woman for probably longer than a one night stand.
lack that you think they lack, they're still human beings. So you think it's okay to hurt other human beings. That's your whole, bro, you are hurting people. I don't care whether they're women, whether they're the races that you discriminate against, you are hurting people. Do you not care that you are hurting people, bro?
The only thing I can do is tell the truth. I'm not in control of other people's feelings and how they respond to the
You haven't made a
truth.
single
So
philosophical
if I tell the truth,
bro, you haven't made a single philosophical argument. I'm giving you real profound philosophical arguments.
no,
and
you've just been like vomiting emotional arguments.
Bro, you're answering them with women deserve less because they're. That is your argument, bro. How did you rise to fame as an intellectual? Calling a woman a is not an argument.
No, I'm saying men shouldn't commit to sex.
Okay. All right, so that's your
Big
argument.
difference.
No, but you're actually saying women deserve less. So I want, and you're saying you're making generalizations, but saying women deserve less, that doesn't sound like a generalization.
It is.
Woman.
When you date a girl or when you're dealing with women, you have to give them less. In today's landscape, you can't be a gentleman anymore. Chivalry is dead and women killed it.
Give me a philosophical argument as to why.
I just explained it. Women have changed. They have their own money. They have their own status. They're educated now. So a nice regular guy no longer cuts it. So men not only have to be attractive and competent and, educated and have money, they have to compete. So what I tell guys is you have to deal with the new normal, because average women no longer want average men. So you must be above average.
Okay, that's.
So this is why they deserve less.
Okay, I'll respect that first part, but I don't understand how that equates to them deserving less, bro. They've elevated themselves in society. Why do they deserve less now?
Yeah, see, this rhetoric right here is a big part of the problem.
Bro?
Like
I think hate speech is a part of the problem.
hate
I think
speech.
inhumanity is a part of the problem.
It's really truth speech,
Bro,
because
you hear how your only argument is I'm speaking the truth. I give you an argument and you say yeah, but I'm speaking the truth. That's
I
your
am.
one argument.
Men and women are biologically different.
You just made the
and
same argument.
here's the thing: men and women are biologically different, and your egalitarian worldview of pedestalizing females is just not going to work for
I'm
the
not
majority
putting
of guys.
them on a pedestal. I'm saying
you quite literally are.
I'm
You
putting
quite
them on
literally
a
are.
pedestal compared to your terms, but I'm saying
Again, he's saying you're putting women on a pedestal, but he's saying everyone's equal with the egalitarian as the claim. So he's defeating his own argument, which is why this guy's getting upset. He's probably a philosophy educated person because he loves philosophy, the concept of thinking about the human mind, which of course it could have been defeated because he's trying to understand him instead of actually trying to debate him. The guy of the Eurocentric descent is a lot more educated by clear pronunciation of what he is actually trying to discuss. And Myron just defeated his own argument by saying you believe in equality and therefore equality can only happen by putting women on a pedestal, which again does not really happen in our modern society. It's because of this he thinks that men have to be so much better than women that it's impossible to reach those levels and heights, because now he's technically trying to push this feminist in his head, of course, because he said it's in your head, because he's clearly seen Myron's in his own world, that he's in a matriarchy when in fact he thinks everyone's equal, which is why he constantly keeps revising what he's saying because he feels like Myron isn't listening to him. Because again, this gentleman here is not trying to debate him; he's trying to understand him, which he's gonna try and play off of, because he's gonna try and play off the majority of people don't know philosophy, which is Myron is gonna take advantage of.
they deserve the same amount as us, bro. They are human
I just
beings.
told you egalitarian.
I know many great
equality
women.
doesn't work between
I know
men and
many
women.
great women, and if they have to struggle to survive to do OnlyFans, it's because men put them in that position, bro. You need some historical context, bro.
Oh man.
Yo, even if they are doing OnlyFans and even if they are wrong for it, they're still human beings, bro. Treat people with dignity. Have some respect, bro. They're humans. All right, I'm gonna end on that.
All right.
Yeah, he left because he realized he's talking to someone who's talking to himself. But the philosophy and historical education he has was clearly just the one statement leaving doesn't really win in a debate, but it does win for the intellectual, because the intellectual clearly sees there's no point in talking to him, because to talk to him means it's a gladiator fight. You got to cut his throat in front of everyone, which of course cutting his throat in front of everyone means he's already used to the fact that a lot of men probably make fun of him, tease him, and say all these women around you just because they're falling for your lies and your rhetoric, which of course I've run into men like that, which is why it's a very difficult fight to have when you're philosophy educated, historically backed. A lot of men do take advantage of that, and that's guerrilla fighting. Which, of course, guerrilla fighting is when men pretend to be feminists in order to have sex with women. They pretend to be on their side just to get you separated from your man and then sleep with you secretly. And they get to feel more machismo or patriarchally aligned, which is kind of what Myron tries to hint at, which is why he saw the lineup probably, that a lot of these men who will get the wrong message if they kept talking, because Myron's just pushing this sexualization toward a lot of women and men. It's toward the end of the video, which of course he's going to reiterate pretty much all his talking points, because he was talking to himself the whole time, because the philosophy man was again trying to talk to him about equality. Myron kept saying women are on pedestals. He said, no, I believe in equality. He says, well, you're putting them on a pedestal, which no, in the perspective of Myron, again, he's thinking again that the only way to see a woman as equal is to educate them because they're all inferior to men, which is why he is again seen as a bigot or a very gross misogynistic person, because again, he is less educated, which means that he's not lesser than someone. His education makes him go, well, you said the word less instead of actually a statement that you're making, which is debating, because again he created his own hierarchy that everyone is lesser, but the dominating force that's a patriarchy here already won a long time ago, which is why they believe in equality now, which is why we have a lot of women in military, a lot of women in the sectors of commerce, a lot of positions of technology and physics and all the cool stuff, because once you understand women are equal and capable just as men are, the concept of having big arm, big strong guys starts to fade away, because now women can pull out gun and and shoot. Women can now educate and speak. Women can now be the leaderships in our society, which he believes is a matriarchy because he's only known the world through the perspective of a patriarchal colonial empire, which then supports the white supremacist mindset, which gives the majority of white men who are insecure, who haven't read their education, the more confidence, and the men of which that come from a more conservative background want to conserve the old school tribal thinking and the old school governments. And then, of course, is going to continue to evolve to, in his opinion, is going to end up getting destroyed, which is why us men need to push women down, which is why women deserve less. Is his book. He wants to push and oppress women down, which is the mindset of the white supremacists, which once the women are down, there go the brown and black men, and there go everyone else getting pushed down and oppressed because it's an old school type of thinking, which is why he says a lot of this simping or this concept of respecting women is going to disappear because those women are going to see him as a lesser for respecting them and attack them, which is technically, again, a confession that he says a lot of these women are being taken advantage of by the patriarchy, which, of course, if you actually educate yourself, you will find a lot of educated women who like what you have to say. It's just unfortunate. I've run into these men of which he is talking about, let's call him a reference to the Bible, right? Enoch, or he leaks a lot of information, weapons technology. There's a guy that I met called Jared, which this guy continuously pushes this identity that when you leak the secrets of liberals and the secrets of the feminist ideology, you can use it for sex and dominating these women. In which case, when you argue with them, they can pretend to be a feminist, they can pretend to be a man that have honor and respect, but really they're just going to use it for sex and domination, and then turn all these women to simpletons, which then are going to support the patriarchy without knowing, which is going to validate a lot of patriarchal norms, a lot of white conservative, white supremacy, which again is going to continue forward with the identity and the politics again of hating and pushing people down through the perspective of feminism, because you can use feminism to destroy feminism the same way you can use white supremacy to destroy white supremacy, which is where white men start to realize they're lesser than white men in all white society, and all the black and brown people they push down and all the women they push down are now, in their perspective, a lesser white man to another white man, to which now you have white slavery, you have white people being pushed down in a theocracy of white conservatism, which are then going to create an internal fight, a civil war between the white men and the white men, which happened at the founding of this nation when white man escaped white man's oppression, which is the escape of the theocracy, the escape of that white men are more superior for being more virgin or more conservative by having one wife because they're more associated with the Catholic Church, which of course is going to be something that is theocratically supported, where people like Myron wouldn't even have the right to speak because replace go back to the kitchen with the sandwiches gets replaced with insert can't say on TikTok because I'll get banned. But it's going to be a educational lesson that when you put people back in their place where they were 100 200 years ago, or let's say a couple thousand, you start to realize that a lot of black, brown, and women were just slaves, and white men too, because they're seen as slave to people if you're lesser quality, which is a class war, which is the class war again is this ideology that is being fought modernly, which is going to be something that a lot of people can relate to, but only because of the premise of once you eliminate race and sex, you now have a class war, which again, he's trying to avoid talking about because he only wants to talk about women being used as their sexual objectification. And the Enoch reference is a Torah reference to the Bible, to which where there are men who which will betray you for the sake of just getting more technology, weapons technology to their enemy, in which case you will be used like a fool or intently like a psychopath or a sociopath in order to attack men who are genuinely trying to liberate people and uplift them, which of course you have to be very careful with. So let's hear his ending of what he has to say.
There you go. That's actually very interesting and revealing. Guys, that is why women behave the way that they do. Guys like that don't hold females accountable for their bad behavior. They act like morons. If you have something to say, you can come up to the mic instead of booing. Defend your belief system. Let the sandwich maker up. You have something you want to say? Go ahead, come up to the mic. See, terrified. They can't defend their belief systems.
I'm not terrified. There's just no way to get through to someone like me.
Okay, we'll try. Go ahead. Tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. See, there you go.
Again, he said, there you go. People who don't want to talk to him because they know this blood sport. They know it's just slaughter. If you guys want to see more my analysis on this patriarchy, please click like and subscribe. Show your support. Show exactly what's happening about this world. We will cover this Piers Morgan interview. We're going to see exactly what happened to him when people are being disrespectful. Excuse me, doing the worst things possible in order to get attention. You can tell by his very big flashy Cuban chain and his big smirk that it's going to be again this traditional patriarchal riches and concept of status. So thank you for watching. This is going to be This is a full-on war, in my opinion. We're gonna have to get warriors ready to fight back because the patriarchy is not happy about dying. They are not happy at all.